The following was recorded in front of a live studio audience at the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe. This is the United Podcast Network.
Welcome to Tell Us Why, a podcast for the financial freedom community. If you're looking to succeed in your quest for financial freedom, make sure you join us every week as we, along with our guests, discuss different stories of success, how they were achieved, and how you can do the same. And of course, we ask them to tell us why. Here are your hosts, Jack and Mike.
Welcome to the Tell Us Why podcast. I am your host, Jack Darrable. I was waiting for the cue.
Jack forgot to say how to say hello to everyone today.
10 seconds in, we've gone off the rails. All right.
We're doing great.
Here we go. I'm here alongside my co-host, Michael Ketchin. Today we're talking with Troy Ward. Troy Ward is an entrepreneur and restaurateur. He is the owner and founder of Troy's Fresh Kitchen and Juice Bar that was founded on the belief that you can have delicious food that is made with ingredients that promote optimal health. Not fast food, fresh food fast. But before we bring Troy in studio, Mike, what's up?
We got clear to close on our latest acquisition, which is great. We got another 8-unit building, the one with the laundromat we mentioned, and a couple other exciting things going on. So it's definitely a good time, even in a hot market. What you got going on?
So some of the things we've been talking about in the past couple of episodes, property management has been offloaded, house cleaning, lawn care offloaded. On that note, I'm going to give the kid a shout out. Keen is doing my lawn. 14-year-old entrepreneur.
That's awesome.
Never even occurred to me that this would be somebody who is perfect for this podcast. But like this is the type of kid like I want my son when he's
starting his own business.
I asked him. The first thing I asked him, I was like, "Is this a business or is this a hobby?" And he's like, "It's a business." I'm like, "All right, I'm gonna give you
14
every week. I'm gonna give you a tip. I'm gonna give you a tip of the week every single week. And we're gonna expand this thing. It's gonna be huge."
Millionaire by the age of 16.
Yeah.
Jack Darrable. Don't get him in tax trouble. Get him with Corey, though. Get him going. That's awesome.
We'll hook him up with a CPA. We'll be good to go.
That's great. That's great. I am so excited for today's guest. I think I take every dime I make from Commonwealth Collective, and most of it just goes to his company. So that tells you how much I believe in it. We truly believe, and we're going to push the product today because it's something we use, and we're going to get you up there to try it all the way from Hull to Londonderry, New Hampshire. But before we do that,
I've wanted to for a while. You've been talking about it. You've been raving about it for a long time.
no pressure, but I've
and
set a high bar.
every meetup that we have, I grab 10 minutes of his time. I'm like, how's it going?
Go into it. So before we get into it, though, why don't we hear who this week's episode is brought to us by?
Are you sick of being treated like just another number by large insurance companies? Do you want a more personalized experience with somebody that you can trust? With Keith Monty from Boynton's Insurance, that's exactly what you'll get. Keith is an experienced professional who can design an insurance plan tailored to fit your specific needs. With access to over 30 insurance carriers, Keith is able to shop numerous markets to find a price that works for you. So if you want an insurance agent that you can rely on and one that has your best interest at heart, then call or text Keith today on 978-241-2363. That's 978-241-2363. Keith Monty. He'll get you covered.
All right, so Troy Ward is the founder of Troy's Fresh Kitchen and Juice Bar. They know that healthy food plays a vital role in living a long and happy life. Their goal is to help you get proper nutrition through delicious recipes that you will love. Whatever your goals are, they want to help you reach them by serving the best quality fuel and encouraging you to be your best every day. Troy, why don't you tell everyone who you are and where your business is at today?
Glad to. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yep, thank you for being here.
Only correction to that is that co-owner, co-founder.
Okay, co-owner,
me and the old
co-founder.
man. My dad and I started it. Yep.
Get out of here, really?
Yeah,
that's
I
awesome.
never told you
Family
that.
business. I did
Absolutely,
not know that.
family
I love
business.
That. Taking a shot on it. Thank
Yep.
you. Good looks, Dad. Thank you for bringing this into this world. I'm very
Big
happy.
shout out to Dad.
Hannah Ketchum is
Yeah.
very happy too.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
But yeah, so my name's Troy. My dad's name also named Troy.
Oh,
so
that's easy.
Easy to remember. Yeah, easy enough. Londonderry, New Hampshire. It's a restaurant, Troy's Fresh Kitchen and Juice Bar, vegetarian place.
Yep.
Doing the only non-vegan thing we have is eggs. But other than that, we do a lot with plant-based proteins. Certain things we buy, like the Beyond products we buy, which is it's really the only one in that category, in that niche of plant-based products that I'll buy.
The Beyond Meat?
The Beyond Meat, yeah. There are a couple different niches of the faux meats and the cheeses that there's really only one standout it's a personal opinion, but I think they do the best with the quality of their ingredients and then the taste. So I stick with them, and then other things we make ourselves. We do a lot with tofu. Like when people come in and ask about tofu, and they say they don't like it, I say, well, you might not like it, but there's a good chance that you just never have been to a place that actually
quality.
They put the time and the effort into making it taste good. Because by itself, it's not going to taste good.
I gotcha. But where are you at business-wise today? Because I know it's been a crazy year. How is it? How many years into this are you again now?
We just, as of the first of this month, was 2 years for us.
That's awesome. So today, let's definitely get into where you're at today, and we'll work backwards on the journey. But I got to be honest. I eat there all the time, as I mentioned, and you guys are crushing it. It seems like I'm going in there. I mean, what is it like right now? I know everything going on, but it seems like it's really blowing up right now in this industry. Are you seeing it kind of continuing to grow in this kind of new genre of food?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely a lot of good things and a lot of the stressful things that come along with that. It's just kind of like my dad said to me the other day, is like the only way you're not going to have those problems is to not be the boss, and we don't want that. So So dealing with just equipment things and struggling we're outgrowing our space, which is a great problem to have.
Still a problem.
It's still a problem though. So but no, we are continuing to see consistent growth. And you asked me when I came in, we're not continuously setting a new daily record every week, but we are continuing to see growth, and at the same time, we just started closing Mondays. And it was going to be interesting to see: are we gonna see a dip in sales? Are we going to even out? What's it going to be like? And the sales. It's funny. A friend of mine who owns a restaurant next door, Luciano's Italian place, him and Tina were telling me that in their experience, when they close one day, or now they're closed 2 days, it carries over to the other days, and their sales have just spread out because customers, being as understanding as they have been throughout this whole process for our industry, they just go when they can go.
All right, well, you just touched on it, so I want to get to the elephant in the room, in my opinion.
We're doing it, huh?
Yeah, we're doing it. What was it like? You're a year into this. You're an entrepreneur. You're opening a business. I mean, you're taking off. It's skyrocketing. COVID happens, and what I really want to get for the community out there, the Tell Us Why community and aspiring entrepreneurs, restaurateurs, business owners, how did you guys not only survive during COVID, how did you thrive and grow to where you're at now? What was that journey like when you look back on it now, having gone through it and succeeding? What kind of actionable steps? What was that like doing that and experiencing that firsthand? As someone you guys were in the industry, in my opinion, that was most affected by the pandemic. I mean, they got killed.
Yeah, scary.
And you made it work and you grew. I think that's amazing. That's one of the reasons I wanted you here today is what was that like? And then what actionable steps can we share with people going through that?
It was interesting. I think we definitely were lucky compared to a lot of people in the industry for a lot of reasons, and not all of them were things that we did. Some of it was, I guess you could call it luck, in the sense that our business model, what we were going through, made us better equipped to survive something like that. And being the level of convenience that we were striving for, being a healthy alternative, being fresh, being, in making food that's good for you and that does promote optimal health, convenient and taste good. That kind of model is really, in terms of being in the restaurant industry in a pandemic where everyone's worried about their health, you can't really do better than that.
I didn't even think of that. And it correlates.
That's a good point.
So it's not something we
kind
can
of like
predict.
the systems that you had in place by design up front that kind of
some of them
translated into a nice smooth transition through COVID.
Right. Some of the things that were at our core, like those things. We didn't predict a pandemic, but by any means. But they ended up helping us a lot. Now, and another thing that wasn't, the timing just worked out is that right before everything happened, we were just adjusting into online ordering, and at the time we were partnered with DoorDash. We're not anymore, but getting our online ordering and our takeout, really hammering into that system, knowing that it would be as big as it was going to be. but not knowing how crucial that was going to be for us to be able to stay open and eventually, really thrive throughout such a tough time for the industry.
That's awesome.
That's really interesting. You said luck in the beginning, but I feel like luck doesn't have very much to do with it. I mean, you put those systems in place. Not by design, but you were prepared for a situation like that just by your due diligence and
and having the foresight to basically be in that position to kind of capitalize on it, which then I definitely think to the next thing that's out there, because I think it's like everything else, right? It's kind of like you can see the momentum building and then it comes. And that's why I want to, this plant-based industry. I mean, you're a young guy, you're a healthy guy, you get guys, me and Jack are a little bit, maybe not as healthy and in shape, but I love
what
this.
Is that supposed to do?
I mean, come on,
I'm out of here.
I told you when I first went in, I mean, my wife pushed this on me. I'm thinking, oh God, but she got me. She said, Tom Brady does it. I said, oh, if Tom Brady does it, I'll try it. But I said,
That's
okay.
all you have to say. If you want Mike to do something, just tell him that Tom Brady does it.
Yes. I fell in love with it. I mean,
Tom Brady.
I'm not kidding. Yes. I'm probably in there 2 to 3 times a week. I mean, that's how much we like this. And it has just really changed my own household. And to give people what I want to get your opinion on, you talk about the optimal, the healthy lifestyle. I had mentioned previously in my previous line of work was very stressful. I was running around. I was very unhealthy. My father passed young. I don't know if this has played a role or not, but I feel better when I eat this stuff, and my blood works better. Everything's better. I definitely directly attribute part of that to your restaurant and some of these shifts and eating this type of stuff. What drew you to the plant-based industry, both as a consumer and as an entrepreneur starting this? What kind of drew you to those two elements where you and your dad went into business on it? What did you see coming?
I never would have guessed that I would be going. I didn't even know what really plant-based or vegan meant up until probably I was in college.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
And I started to see, I saw this video. I don't know why it's coming to mind right now, but I saw this video and this guy saying, if you're vegetarian, you're just wasting your time. It's either vegan or nothing. And he was going, I'm like, what is this? What is a vegan? What is this guy even talking about? And
what is this?
and I don't even know what that video is about. But that's the first time that I ever heard about a vegan. I think he was just talking about, from the health standpoint. And then I started getting into it, and I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not a dietitian. I know enough to get in trouble and make healthy meals and try and stay in shape. But other than that, no, it's just something that I'm really interested in. Yep. So I got all these books. I might still have a picture on my Instagram. I just went to the store and I just got all these books on nutrition and what's plant-based. And I found out I found out 3 big reasons to continue looking into this, and one is what I learned from the books, which was how it can promote longevity and getting you to live a longer and more healthy life.
Yep.
Also, I started to look into what was touched in the movie, the Netflix documentary, I believe it was called Game Changers.
Yep.
Looking at it from an athletic standpoint, how performance can be enhanced, through blood flow, muscle recovery, muscle endurance, healing injuries through a plant-based diet. And it's all, like you said, you can see it right in the blood work. So I'm looking at it from a health standpoint, both, my general health and performance. But then I also got into looking at how it affects the things around me. So I did watch all the documentaries, and it's a rabbit hole, man. Like there's so many, and people will always tell you. People always tell you, and I'd say I hear this more than anything when someone asks someone, why'd you start going plant-based or this or that? And they're like, oh man, I watched this documentary. Don't watch this documentary. You'll never want to eat meat again. And so it did play a big role. I watched What the Health.
Yep.
And I watched.
Is it Rotten? Was that one of them? I know it's one.
I've heard of that one. There was another one, but What the Health hammered it in. And I went vegan for 7 months, like strict, going from a meat-based diet.
Yep.
I was vegan for 7 months, and it was a nightmare because I didn't know what I was doing, and I was eating, like a rabbit for 7 months.
Yep.
Now I know how to make good-tasting meals.
Yep.
But so my point being, in addition to health, there's the other 2 factors of one, the way the industry is set up right now in a larger scale. Seeing animals treated that way, and it's just not a cool thing. at its core makes you lose your taste for it to some degree. Some people more than others, but you can say that it's inhumane and it's a little gruesome. I'm sure most people have heard of it. Some people have seen the documentaries. And then the other thing is just the environmental impact of, tearing down these ecosystems. And the one that I watched most recently was Seaspiracy.
Yep.
Which really hits home because I love seafood. I always have. And it just goes to show you, like, we could have fishless oceans in 40 years if we're going at the rate that we are.
Yeah.
Just like the irresponsible overfishing and what gets caught up in the byproduct of all of that. I mean, that's just detrimental. So those three things all led me into, being interested in that style of eating and combining that with, I love food. I always love going to restaurants. Like, that's a huge passion for me. And I went to business school, and, the goal was to find something that I was passionate enough about and I felt like I was good at and felt like I could do some good to the people around me, help some other people out. That's what I was looking for in something to pursue entrepreneurship.
Gotcha.
And I really tied it all in together.
Yep.
I mean, one other aspect that I'm sure you're aware of, but I feel like the plant-based diet wave is just now starting to form, like industry-wide, like the Beyond Meat IPO last year. I feel like a fad is underselling it, but like I feel like it's starting to become a bigger part of society. Like what you were saying, that when you go in there, you always see like teenagers there.
Yeah,
and the example that Dave was giving, Dave Garofalo, was saying that like he used to go to Wendy's instead of Wendy's, and that's what they did. Now you're seeing kids go healthy, eat salads, go to restaurants like yours, and that's where they're hanging out. That's where they're eating. And you have like if you're having teenagers do it, that's going to continue.
Yeah, it's not changing.
Expand over time. So you kind of. I mean, I don't think that wave definitely hasn't crested yet. I feel like it's still building.
Oh yeah, and that's where. So looking at it now from the business standpoint, now you're established. You guys are absolutely killing it. You got all these directions you can go in. Where do you see opportunity in this industry going? Do you see this just continue to just explode? What do you see? I mean, I know I have my thoughts, and I think this is going to stop becoming. I can see schools getting into this. I can see the benefits start to get to the point where you can't ignore it anymore. What kind of opportunities do you see? Where are you guys going? Because you make some unbelievable sausage. You have a couple of things you've talked about.
Thank you.
What things do you see coming down as an entrepreneur? What is next for Troy's Fresh Kitchen over the next 5? Give us your 5-year plan.
Yeah, the exciting thing is that there's so many opportunities, and the market is so open that there's several different ways that we could go. I would love to start opening in some key locations around here in the next year or so. So that's definitely on the agenda, is to try and get Troy's number 2. Yeah. Maybe somewhere in this area specifically.
We would love that.
That would
be dangerous.
Really cool.
For my wallet,
But I do think it would be very good, and it's close enough where it would be ideal for our first go at managing 2 stores. But then there's the opportunity to. We can do so much from one spot, and then little prep kitchen of selling our recipes. And, there's been plenty of people who have started as a restaurant and then sold their recipes and made a killing off of that. Some of them went back to opening more, some of them didn't. But I think starting something I've wanted to do for a long time is to open up a market, both online and in-store, to showcase all of the things we're making from scratch, because we're a scratch kitchen. I love getting creative in the kitchen and making different things, and I have a lot of things that I want to get working on. But I mean, everything we're making from scratch are things that people have asked us, hey, can I buy this in bulk? Even our smoothie bowls, they want to buy it pint-sized, ice cream style smoothie bowl containers, and it's something that's you're eating superfoods, and it's as enjoyable as ice cream.
That's unbelievable.
So what is the issue you're running into? Like shelf life
To some degree, I think for us, it would be if we really went all out and opened up that option, we're already running out of space. So I don't even know where I'd begin to put all of this stuff. You know, if I go, the number one thing that people ask for is the Chipotle aioli. Mm-hmm. So we make our own plant-based mayo, tastes just like mayonnaise, tastes better, in my opinion. I'm biased, but in my opinion, than the other plant-based mayos. I love it. It's great. And then we make a Chipotle base. We combine it. It's our most popular sauce by a long shot. It's on a lot of the things on our menu. People buy sides of it like crazy. I have friends that, I haven't announced that we're doing this yet, but I have a lot of friends that'll come in, they'll text me and be like, hey, can I get a bottle of that Chipotle? And I'm like, sure. I slap a sticker on the list bottle.
How much money you got to spend to get on this list?
It's a very exclusive list, but I can squeeze you on. But yeah, I think that Chipotle aioli would be great. And let's say starting off small and then getting into something like a Whole Foods. I think even that alone, I think you could build a business off of it. And just as a customer, having gone in there looking for things like that, when I'm like, I don't want to go and run back to the store and get Chipotle. I'm right here. They don't have a lot, and it's maybe, I think they have one brand of plant-based Chipotle aioli on there, and it's very different from what I do, and it's not local. I just think there are a couple products, especially that one, that would do very well selling. If we could figure out how to sell e-commerce, that would be huge because Whole Foods would be great. But e-commerce, there's, like we were talking about, the wave is growing. It's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
More and more people, and the people that are figuring out how to turn these plant-based, healthier alternatives into something that anyone will enjoy.
Yeah.
I think those people are in the prime position to do really well.
Yep. I think it's definitely a fascinating industry. And that leads to the next thing I think you guys do really well. That's an actionable tip for the community, similar to where, the guests we had on last week, we'd be remiss if we didn't ask. You guys do an unbelievable job with your social media and engaging your audience.
Thank you.
I think it's incredibly impressive. So do you have any actionable tips for those out there listening, for those in the community, building a business, building a brand? What has really worked for you guys?
I think I could be better at it. Like there are things that I know that I need to do better. Like I wish that I would. I think so. Gary Vee always says you don't need to be making perfect content. Just document. Yeah. And I think that I wish that we did more of that, especially because what we do. It's just really fun. Yeah. Working in a scratch kitchen is really fun. Coming up with unique new creations, and plus, I have a great team. Like we have a blast working together. We're all very, very close, and we have a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. And I think that could be highlighted more because that's genuine, and people will really connect to that. And when they're thinking about, where will I go today? Is it going to be here, here? If you have more of a personal connection with a business, then I think you're more apt to want to go and support them and be a part of that.
And authenticity,
absolutely. But authenticity and I guess quality of what you're doing, just getting a lot out there. I think maybe to a fault, I try and make sure my pictures look perfect. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But then engaging with your customers, having a conversation, knowing people by name, calling them by name, and it's one of my favorite parts about it. Like we have so many regulars. The community that we have behind us is so strong. So seeing those same faces that come in and talk to us in the store, then engaging with us online, it's just fun. But I think it goes a long way, and it builds those strong customer relationships. And we have done a very good job at that. And our customers are like part of our family. Yep. Our regulars will come in, and it's not just one or two people. Like a good portion of our regulars will come in, and it's not uncommon for them to be greeted by 5 or 6 people by name.
I get it all the time too. You feel I feel like the special guy in line. I got the line cook yelling at me. I got the smoothie lady. I'm like, no big deal. But
you don't even need your name on the ticket. We'll see something with can you add buffalo and Chipotle to this? And we're like, that's a Mike order right there. We know who's coming.
Who's getting it extra spicy? Yes. So that's awesome. Ton of great actionable stuff in there. That's unbelievable. It's exact stuff we want to share with the Tell Us Why community, and I mean, go back, listen to that again, because you can apply all that. Nothing he said takes a ton of dollars, a ton of startup. It goes back to effort, authenticity, and consistency. And those 3 things, this is living proof right here as another entrepreneur. I'm telling you, his business is exploding. Check it out. And I believe personally in the next few years, when your e-commerce is up and running, when your other locations, I mean, we were at a real estate investor meetup. I told everybody in the room, this is the guy who's got the best thing going. Forget all the, the multifamily and everything else, because I believe in it that much, because the proof is in the concept. So that's what I want to go back. Listen to that again. Definitely rewind that.
I want to buy the real estate in which the franchisee
Yes, we're going to
operate.
collaborate and write a check for equity. It is now time.
I'm not going to say I'm going to go Ray Kroc on you, but I want all the real estate.
Wow, that's
At least you're being upfront about it.
So now it's time for Addicted to Problem Solving with me, Mike, because I am addicted to problem solving, for those who know. We take a listener question each week, and where can they get what do they get for that question? What do they get?
They get some Tell Us Why swag.
They get some. Do you have some on right there?
I do.
Bet on yourself.
Rusty does, sitting here as well.
Our live studio audience. So what do we got for a question this week, and who's it from, Jack?
So this week's listener question is from Zachary Richards. He asks, one thing I always like to hear from entrepreneurs who become successful is, was there a moment where you almost gave up? If so, what happened, and how do you overcome it?
Unbelievable question.
That was a good question.
I'll throw it to you first, Troy. I think you just said it coming in. Yeah, you tackle that one first.
Every day at 9 a.m. No, I'm just kidding. When my fridge stops working and I have to call 10 people.
Yeah.
I don't think there was ever one moment. Mm-hmm. For me, it's just every once in a while you come to that place of it all piles on. You have your equipment not working. You have maybe this customer complaint. There's an issue with people on your team. Like this.
Mike to stop doing that.
Yeah, I know. Keeps calling in anonymously, trying to get free stuff. I think it's just the moments that come around every once in a while, not too often, but when everything piles on and you just work, a few 12-hour days in a row, and it's just like there every once in a while you get that moment of man, this is ridiculous. Yeah. Like how am I going to maintain my sanity? Mm-hmm. And I just think I think plenty of people have said it before. It's like that's the cost of doing something big and getting what you want is doing the things that other people aren't willing to do. Yeah. And doing the things that are hard. And so I just try and remember that when it happens. It's like, all right, well, most people don't want to feel like this. Yeah. Most people don't want to get this level of stress and exhaustion. So maybe if I do it, I'll come out on the other side stronger and more able to handle difficult things. But also that's probably the price to pay for getting what you want out of life. So I just try and think of that.
That was
one thing I always tell my son in that regard is get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah,
if you're
I love
comfortable,
that.
you're not growing. So get comfortable, very comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's a great answer. When did you want to quit?
What was it? When did I call you? That was like 3 months ago? I was like, oh my God. Like just everything. It was just piling up. There was stuff going wrong in apartments, stuff down in Florida, and raising money, foundation issues, structural issues. I was just like, it was the only time since I left my job that I was like, well, maybe I'll just go back to work. And then one 4.5-minute phone call to Mike later, it's like, all right, we're good.
I yell a lot. And for us, I don't know if we've ever told this story publicly or not, but I had just resigned. It's funny how much you learn in this business. I resigned from my post in education, and at that point, the lenders we worked with, everything, they said they were going to do something. They did it. Everything was great. We're at the closing table for a $2.5 million acquisition. A building, we own it now because it worked out in the end. But in that moment, and the bank pulled the loan. So I'm looking at Matt and Hannah, and I'm going, okay, well, we thought this was a done deal. And we learned the hard way that it's not done until the ink is dry and the checks have been deposited. And we had to strap on our boots, and we had to readjust everything. But I essentially watched all this go away, and we just figured it out. And that was the only moment where I said, maybe I made a mistake. Maybe we made a mistake. And again, this is why your team and your circle of trust is so important. The people you surround yourself with and having a positive mindset. Because in that moment, Matt and Hannah were so strong and so pushing. Because I'm usually a bit assertive. But every now and then you do need your team to pick you up. And that was our moment. But I think it's like you just said. Every year I like to say you need to be solving bigger problems. And if you're not growing and you're not solving bigger problems, you're going to become complacent. And that's fine if you hit your goals. But like you often said, we as a society are obsessed with results. We don't look at the process. And the process will produce the results we want. So by going to that level and dealing with that stress and tackling that and designing that lifestyle, yes, there's going to be those tough, challenging moments. But when you solve those and you come out on the other side, the lifestyle you create is usually worth it in the end, is what I believe. Anyways, kind of go with that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so great answer. Great answer for sure.
All right. So moving on to the big three. These are the three questions we ask every guest. I'll kick it off with the college question. So the question is college worth it?
This was coming.
This is the one everyone's like, oh, what do I say? Be honest. Be brutally honest.
No, I will be. So I went to a 4-year school, and I think for me personally, I'm glad that I went. I got a lot from it. It helped me. I met a lot of people that I'm really grateful for having met, and a lot of great experiences that, helped get me to where I needed to be. I don't think it might not have been worth the money, and I think overall, that's one big takeaway that I think is that the money's crazy for it right now. I think it depends on who you are. I think it depends on, what you want to do. I think certain professions require more education than others. If you're going to be a doctor, of course, you need to go to school. My biggest problem with college is how the system is set up in the way that puts so much pressure on these kids coming out of high school.
Make that decision at 18.
Yeah, make that decision that's going to impact the rest of your life.
You don't know how to budget.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think they take advantage of that, like the momentum, because if people actually took a step back to think about it, maybe travel a little bit, figure out who they are, or get some real work experience in something that they think they might want to do, and then make the decision of, do I really need school? That doesn't really seem that profitable for the education system.
Well, there's a reason they market it and get to it, and you just hit the nail on the head. I witnessed it firsthand, like we talk about. My issue was it's forced. It's 100% college readiness for everyone. And in reality, you just gave a great answer. At 20, 21, 22, you are much better positioned to make that informed decision, to really decide what risk and what pass. That was a great answer, which leads to the exact next one. What piece of actionable advice would you give your 18-year-old self?
I would say I was thinking about this one for a little while. I saw from the email, and I think it would be, don't chase the money. Yep. Chase what you're passionate about. Figure out what you're passionate about. Try some stuff, and get really good at that. And then figure out how you can turn those skills and that passion into money. And I chose that one. I say that because I think when I was younger, I was very much drawn to all these guys, the entrepreneurs, flashing their cash and showing their cars and this and that. And I'm not saying I don't find that appealing now, because that's cool. I think it may be just partly, my competitive nature. I'm like, oh, they can do that. I can do that,
Yeah.
But I found myself going towards things that didn't really make me happy, that I thought would make me money. My first job out of school, I never thought that I'd be in a cubicle, but I somehow got stuck in the cubicle. And I think the company does good things. I think, they do a good job, and they donate insane amount of money to charity. So, it was a good company to stand behind. But what I was doing was not working for me.
Yeah.
I need to be out and actually seeing the people that I'm talking to, and not in a box. And some people, that makes them happy, and that's cool. But me personally, that wasn't making me happy, and I was sacrificing my happiness and my energy for something that I thought, but never know. In a year, 2 years, 3 years, I could be making all this money. And it was draining me completely.
Yep.
I was very, very depressed, and every day I was going to the 99 across the street thinking, all right, what can I do to go off on my own and make even a little bit of money?
Yep.
And I figured out that, all right, these are the things that I feel really strongly about. Like I said before, health, wellness, food, restaurant, local business, interacting with the community. I love all of that stuff, and it just kind of tied itself together. So
now it's exploding.
And
You're working your own boss.
Good we can, now we can see, a future with it. But don't chase the money.
Great answer.
It's funny how that passion word keeps coming up, and being able to turn it into something that you love doing. So
it's every episode.
We're gonna have to talk
see
about
these
that
themes
on the recap show or something.
Yes, we will.
But moving on to the next question,
No, you got it, brother.
Moving on to the next question, what's one thing you would want your 90-year-old self to say to you?
Attaboy. No, I don't know that. I guess that
Good job,
it right
man.
you did okay. I guess that
I can already tell you like his dad a lot because he's like, no nonsense. Here we go. I can just
Right.
tell.
I guess that what you've been doing for the past 90 years was meaningful. You helped some people. You weren't an ass. You helped other people. You were a good man. That's I think the simple stuff goes a long way. Wouldn't want to have any regrets. You went for it. Things like that.
Bet on yourself.
Yeah.
Hashtag bet on yourself.
I love it. I love it.
Troy Sr., you're a good man. Here.
And we got to get him on the podcast.
Oh, we'll come back round
be
two.
fun.
What we'll
Yeah,
do is
definitely.
we'll check in a year from now. We were talking about this with guests. We would love to, as we're building the community, we're going to do some events, both live and online, for these different industries. But you might even be seeing, we're now fourth guest in, whatever it's been. You're seeing the commonality of these themes starting to spill over. So before we let you go, is there anything you want to tell listeners out there? Where can they get in touch with you? Where can they learn more about you, your business?
Definitely. Yeah. Social media. So Troy's Fresh Kitchen, Instagram, Facebook. We put all of our new stuff on Instagram and Facebook. Right now, if you're in the area, come try our specials, our summer specials. We have, we're doing some stuff that's very different from anything else we've ever done. Mm-hmm. The sushi burrito, the poke bowl. And the big component of that is that I'm making my own tomato sashimi, which probably sounds weird to a lot of people, but go check out the pictures of it we have. It's really good. You get the texture that you need from that tuna component of those two dishes, but the marinade that we use and the process that we use to get it to be where it needs to be, it gives you that fishiness that you're like, all right, I'm not. You don't feel like you're missing anything. Whereas if it was just a bunch of vegetables, you probably would. It gives you that tuna-iness. Yeah.
And go check it out. There's a good chance you'll run into me there. So we'll give you some
probably.
Tell Us Why swag while we're there. That's awesome. So,
All right. So if you don't already follow us on social media, you can find us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, basically everywhere, every social media platform.
Literally
there is.
everywhere.
All the links are in the description below. If you're new and just listening for the first time, make sure you head over and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Leave a rating and review.
Yeah,
we
why
need
not?
those.
Why not?
Share that with
That's-
everybody.
yeah.
Get on the social media, spread the word. If you think any of this stuff is actionable, relatable, give us feedback. Come join this community. Come, do what we're building and be part of the Tell Us Why community. Even better, if you want to come in person and you're local or you're traveling through, come check us out each week at the United Podcast Network, located here in Salem, New Hampshire. And as always, also, if you want to get your hands some Tell Us Why swag, like Jack is wearing, go check us out on Instagram or in the Big Cartel store. And as always, you got the quote of the week, I believe, right?
Whoa,
don't want to
jumping
skip
the
it. I
gun.
almost jumped the gun.
All right, we'll end it with the quote of the week. This week's quote is, when something is important enough, you do it even if the odds are not in your favor.
Like open your
I like
kitchen.
that. I like
Love that.
Elon Musk quote.
See you next
so
week.
That's it for today. Be sure to join us on next week's episode. And until next week,
Bet on yourself.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, or callers of this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe, the United Podcast Network, its partners, or affiliates.